Okay, now this one's a good one actually, guys. Alan Jimenez here again, HPAgents.com. Today we're talking about staying out of lawsuits. Ugh. Staying out of lawsuits. I mean, I've been blessed by God Himself not to be included in any kind of lawsuits. So I'm gonna tell you how I did it. And I've actually had clients sue each other, but because I've done such a good job, they just like left me out. They're like, I'm not gonna cause out any problems. He did everything, kid. So I'm just gonna teach you what I've done over the years. Some more coffee. Okay. So let's start from the beginning. We want to make sure all our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. What that means is that we want to have our listing agreement, make sure that it's signed and executed by all parties, and I want you to make sure that it's dated. My God. Make sure that every box is filled out, or you have not applicable N/A in the boxes that are not filled out, Golly. Now there's going to be, let's start from the beginning. You're going to have in the buyer's name, if you're having our seller's name, and any entity associated with it, have their full address. Where do the documents get sent? Are they make sure that they agree to receive electronic correspondence through email. It's in the contract for Texas, and I'm sure it is in there in your other ones through your MLS. I can't say for each state because they're all a little different. I'm a Texas Real Estate Commission. So every state is different, but you want to make sure you have these. You also want to have the legal description of the property. You want to not just have the address, you want to have the legal plots and bounds, the boundaries. Have the legal description. You get that from from the county appraisal district, and it will be a part of the survey as well. Put that on there because you can have a problem with the address, like, oh, this address doesn't cover the lot next door. No. Well, I'll put it right here. Here goes the legal description. It says plot here to boundary here. This boundaries. Copy and paste that directly. Yeah, definitely. And put that's number one. You go down there. What else is there? You could say. Also, we're talking about the sales. So I know lots of times you can get into kind of a lawsuit if the buyer finds out that the numbers are wrong. So. All right, and we're back. So then we talked about, you put in there that estimated sales between 80,000 and 100,000 based on the seller's records. I don't want you to get caught up in something where like, oh, you told me, no, this is what the seller told me, and have them initial that line right there. Let's see here. Okay. Then we go down a little bit here on the chart, on the contract. Okay, now we're going to be talking about the addendums, attachments that go with the contract. So there's going to be a place in the contract, in the listing agreement or the buyer's representation or even the sales executed contract, where it's going to say other contracts and addendums that are attached to this contract. So you need to make sure that you check each one of those boxes off. And if there's going to be an empty space there as well. Actually, let me just pull one out, dude. Alrighty, so I just brought up a contract here. So it's maybe not 100% correct because I haven't looked at it in a while since I've been traveling. But so as you can see right here, this is just a template. Maybe I'll just send it to you. Just put their information, their name right here. It says and any entity associated with client, LLC, incorporations, etc. Put their address, blah blah blah. I guess I gotta go here. Okay. Then we go make all your information, full address, phone numbers, email address, the market area. Just put your state, property to acquire. This is a buyer representation agreement. It still works the same. That means we're working with the buyer. But so I have the same thing for sellers, but this is for if you're working with buyers. Term, this is okay. So the property means that. So if you're going to be looking, the market area is Texas. So that means that you have a license for your state most likely. So you could sell them a property in all over the state. Why is that important? Because if you put Houston or you put your city and they buy it outside the city, then the contract states that they don't have to pay you commission. So you use the entire state. This is the client intends to acquire 5 properties in the market area. Oh, so this client I was working was going to buy 5. Contract beginning and end dates, and this is all standard stuff. I'm not going to go through each same thing. You do want to select intermediary so you can get paid on both sides if you represent buyer and seller. The commissions, this is very important. 3% of the gross sales price, or you can even put 7%, 6% of all rents paid. And then make sure you check this box, who pays the commission, and it spells it right on out. If the seller doesn't want to pay, if it was for sale by owner, then the client has to pay. Clients purchase if they agree to lease, you get paid on that. If they decide to lease and then they decide to buy it afterwards, you get paid even 5-10 years. That doesn't matter. You have a contract, so it doesn't matter about he said, she said. You have to have the contract. If they decide to do construction, you get paid 3% of the total construction cost. Protect yourself. Protection period, 180 days after the contract expires. The contract still works, because they say, oh, you know what? Once you get a buyer and seller connected, and then they say, you know what? When does your contract end? Oh, the contract ends in 6 months. Okay, by the time we do the appraisal and the environmental will be 3 or 4 months. Let's just stretch it out for 6 or 7 months, and then we'll just avoid paying him the $60,000 or $100,000. Okay, cool. No, so this contract says that it goes 6 months expiration, and then another 6 months that for any property that you presented to them. So this, now remember, I'm going to put my disclosure here. This is not legal advice. I can't legally advise you. I'm just telling you what's worked for me in the past. Okay, so use your own best judgment or talk to an attorney. What county, information about broker services required, how brokers, how you get paid. All this stuff isn't regular. I'm not going to go through that. Make sure you have their name here. Put your name, license number, all that good stuff. Get it fully executed and dated. That's about it. Yeah, it would be the same thing for seller, for a listing agreement, except you're going to put the meets and bounds, a legal description. It's basically the same thing. What's included. Make sure you have all the attachments that go with the contract. How can I say this? That in this contract, doesn't have it here, but in other contracts it will say what other addendums are connected with this contract. You check each one of those off. Yeah, so that's sad about working with buyers and sellers and protecting yourself from lawsuits, because you don't want. I think another good thing that's kept me out of trouble is actually just doing 100% my best job and being honest and really going above beyond what these clients want. I remember being a part of one deal where it busted at the closing table. They just could not get along, and at the closing table, he decided to pull out, and everybody lost. They end up losing. He sued the seller for like $150,000 and could not get it done. But he just ended up losing his earnest money, losing the $150,000, and just really going crazy. I mean, but they didn't get me a part of that contract because they're like, man, Alan did such a good job, really tried his hardest, and I really did. Just giving it my all, giving it my blood, sweat, and tears. I was hungry for that money, and I still am. But I was really hungry. When I mean by hungry, I mean I had a desire for money, and a lot of money. So, I would try to keep buyer and seller together and put your pride aside. There is no pride. You're not. I'm going to tell you what I've done. I am not too proud to sit and talk and calm people down and try to see their perspective and be understanding. It goes a long way being, I don't want to say being compassionate, trying to see their perspective, going back, you're like a mediator, trying to get a deal done, especially when you're an intermediary working both sides. You are a mediator. You're just like, wow, sometimes it's just best to have two realtors there. Golly, intermediary will get your money, but you'll get a lot of money, but it's a big headache. So remember to get all your T's crossed and all your I's dotted. Make sure that the contracts are dated, listing agreement, buyer's agreement. Make sure that they receive a copy and you CC your broker, and make sure that you ask them for can you reply back and let me know you got the contract, so that you definitely know that they have it. And you have to use the CYA terminology, cover your ass, because you don't want to get in a part of a lawsuit. At the worst case scenario, you end up at a part of a lawsuit, you have your broker most likely will have some insurance, errors and omissions insurance, but some don't. And so if they do, they're going to have a deductible. The deductible is going to be $2,000 or $5,000. So you don't really want to get a part of a lawsuit, because at the bare minimum, you're going to have to pay that deductible. Yeah, you have insurance, that's what we have, but somebody has to pay the deductible. It's just like any kind of insurance. When you get in an accident, and it happens, suing your clients for commissions doesn't really work, and especially when they have a lot of money and you're barely making it. I say don't waste your time too much. If it's plain and evident, and you have your diet, you have your everything's done, the contract's great, and if they still circumvent your fees, then maybe, yeah. But if somebody wants to get out of your contract, try to work with them. But with social media nowadays, you don't want a bad, upset client who doesn't want to work with you. It's sad, but they're just some bad people, especially with dealing with gas stations. Unfortunately, it's cutthroat. It is just amazingly cutthroat. And especially, we're not dealing with $20 here. We're dealing with, they're about $2 million. You can be paying, easily be getting $60,000 to $100,000 really quick. So, will somebody screw you over for a brand new Lamborghini or a brand new, S-Class? Yeah, they will. They don't care about you, So it's tough, gas stations. You gotta get tough skin. But getting back to the lawsuits, we talked about all that and getting your stuff done, and see you in the next one. Let me see if I can get back here now.